Hey, it's Todd Duncan. I was thinking about my early days in the mortgage and real estate business, and I remember my mentor told me very, very early on these thoughts. He said, "It doesn't matter what market you are in, it matters how you are in that market." That's profound. Markets come and go, right? Hot markets, cold markets, markets that are favorable, markets that feel like they're facing a headwind. Great piece of advice. It doesn't matter what market you are in, it matters how you're in that market. It's, for me, the ultimate success strategy because the difference between how you perform, no matter what the market conditions are, dictates your ultimate ROI. There seems to be uncertainty in times about where the market is going. And you and I probably could agree on a couple things. One is we don't really control that. And we don't really control a lot that comes with it. But what we do control and what we can control is what we do no matter what the market is. I think that the idea in this quick video is to make sure that I equip you with this idea of how to prepare and how to pivot before market trends become market truths. And I believe because you're watching this, I'm assuming that you would like to optimize your success no matter what, right? I mean, that's why success is so important. And if it were super easy, then there would be no value in actually succeeding. And so in this video, what I want to do is share with you 3 steps that I think you must take in any market condition to win and win decisively. I've been in markets that are very, very hairy. I've been in markets with high interest rates and low consumer confidence. And I think it's important just to do a little parallel between these kinds of ideas. I had an interest rate market when I was a loan originator that was knocking on the door of 18% for a loan, if you can imagine that. Okay. Prime was at 20 or 21%. It was an ugly time in America, the worst time since the Great Depression. And, my mentor said rates might be going up, rates might be coming down. Consumer confidence might be going up, or it might be going down. Inventory might be plentiful, or it might be scarce. Inflation might be on the rise, or it might be going down. And in his always certain and yet encouraging way, he said, it doesn't matter what market you are in, it matters how you're in the market. And so I think that our success can be just really owned by us if we master the 3 steps that I want to share with you. These 3 steps, again, apply no matter what market we're in. They will always apply no matter what market we're in, and winners follow these 3 steps. So here's number 1. Number 1 is choose your lane. And I made a decision early in my career, and the lane that I'm wanting to have you visualize is the lane between doing transactions versus building relationships. And it's important to know that you can make a fortune either way. Transactions makes you an income, but relationships can make you wealthy. In my world, I chose relationships. I chose deep relationships with real estate agents and builders. I have friends that are realtors. They chose deep relationships with sellers and buyers. When I made a choice to go after relationships instead of transactions, what I made a choice to do was to build relationship, and then the transactions would follow. In my idea and the idea that my mentor gave me, no matter what the market conditions, when you have deep relationships, you can win. Again, no matter what the market looks like. When you choose the relationship lane, you get into an emotional sweet spot. When you choose the transactional lane, you get into a logical competitive mode. And by that, I mean when the transaction is simply a transaction, then it's always going to be more price centric and deal centric. But when a relationship is about long-term connection, it is always about that before it ever becomes about the economics. So as you think about this, you need to think right now, what am I doing in terms of choosing my lane? You can't be both. You have to choose one or the other. When you think about choosing your lane, it also applies to making sure that you're focused on the things that matter most to your success, whatever market you're in. And this begs the question of, are you doing fewer things in a higher level of execution, a more efficient way of rollout? Are you doing fewer things better and better and better and better? And that's a lane that you choose as well. So when you think about the first step, it is getting very clear on what matters most. And my belief is that relationships trump transactions. So that's first and foremost. The second step is when you make the emotional decision, which you can tell is what I'm recommending, you then have to make a further decision to deepen the relationship. And I believe that about 99% of real estate professionals and mortgage professionals don't really understand this and don't really grasp it. Deeper relationships produce more trust. More trust accelerates business. Deeper equals connection, and connection equals consistency. So how do you go deeper? You slow down the conversations. You ask more meaningful questions. You feel the humanity in the conversations versus just the attraction to do business. You understand that connection is what rules all loyalty. And if you want loyal relationships, you have to be a giver before you are a taker. I remember in an early discussion that I had with a real estate agent, I simply asked her, what matters most to you? Yesterday, I had a conversation with a gentleman in the loan business who last year did $200 million in volume. And I asked him because he had to make a decision about doing something. And I said, what matters most and what's important to you? So we have to get away from being superficial. We got to ask deeper questions. And the deeper questions actually set us up for a more connected relationship. And anytime you have a connected relationship, you have high trust, which means you will produce together more transactions, period. Step 3, own the idea of nurturing your network. You know, in markets where inventory is tight and there's some economic uncertainty, follow-up and adding value have never been more important. But when inventory is loose and there's more economic certainty, it's so cool to understand that follow-up and adding value will never be more important. So the step is, no matter what the market conditions, you are following up and adding value. What I mean about following up and adding value is that if I have a lane that I've chosen and I choose relationships, if I have deepened those relationships by asking fewer penetrating questions that really unleash connection and trust, I will want to follow up. And I'm going to tell you right now that I believe that real estate agents, mortgage professionals, and I think business at large does a horrible job following up. Nurturing your network is about being in touch. And there's a stepping off point that you have to understand that at some level it will make sense, and at some point it will make sense for you not to continue to prospect new relationships, but to add more value and go much deeper with the relationships you have. How do you do that? You stay in touch. I have professional real estate agents and lenders that I coach, and I got to tell you, there's a block of time every day allocated to strategic follow-up. Okay? Maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. But one of the sayings that I have, and I believe, and I've used in my own career, is if you don't follow up with them, they won't follow through with you. If you like these 3 ideas and you want to learn more, just visit us at toddduncan.com/coaching. See how we might be able to help you. Check out our resources. I believe it's really important to understand the market does not dictate your success. How you perform in a market is what dictates your success, no matter whether the market's hot or cold. It doesn't matter. You're in charge of your destiny. Thanks for watching.